mentor at the time had a big downtown specific site, and he would write blogs. And he's like, just go to the Caravan, and then there's 10 properties on, and then just write a blog post.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the walkthrough. This is the most underrated, valuable marketing show / podcast in real estate history. I am Eric Simon, aka Captain Hook, because I hook the audience in with words and text, and I also snap hook it on the golf course. Right, Jason?
Definitely the latter, but that was a good. Captain Hook is a good one for you.
Thank you. And we are joined here by our great co-host, Jason Cassidy, aka the only agent that exists in San Diego.
Only person, period. I am San Diego. There is nobody else to talk to in San Diego whatsoever.
Exactly. And we are joined here by a first-time guest, the host of the Behind the Lockbox, not between two lockboxes, but Behind the Lockbox podcast, the electric, the elusive, I don't know why I put that, one of the realest, get it, agents you will ever meet, Stephanie Zalowski. Stephanie, how are you doing?
Hi, guys. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.
Stephanie, you could get around the San Diego part by just saying like, well, that's because I work La Jolla. And then now that's technically still true.
Well, that is technically still true, but we'll have to fight this out, Jason.
Yeah, I wanted to have a couple rivals on the pod, Jason and Stephanie, fighting for the same clientele. Yeah. We have an amazing show for you today. First, we're going to cover what to do if you want to change direction on your Instagram account. A lot of agents, they want to go from hyper local to only showing listings to agent content. So we're going to tell you exactly what you should do when it comes to that. And then we have 20 frequently asked questions on Instagram and marketing that we are just going to rapid fire answer. These are the questions that we get in our DMs. These are the questions that we hear in masterminds. These are the questions that we hear at conferences. So we are going to lay it out and knock them down one by one, just like we're Yoshinobu Yamamoto against the Arizona Diamondbacks last night. Did you watch that game, Jason?
You know what's so funny is I saw the comeback. So I saw the very end. So I didn't see Yoshi dealing, but I saw the comeback at the end.
Guy had a no-hitter through 7 innings almost. I had the Dodgers minus 1.5. That did not come to fruition. And then we are going to break down Stephanie's audit. We are going to audit, Stephanie's Instagram account in a few videos that she has posted. If you like the sound of that, head down, Jason, to your local gun store. Get yourself a little hit pistol and then shoot the like button off of your camera or your phone.
Clever.
Thank you.
Hey, we had a great video last week. I want to say no pressure, Stephanie, or anything like that. But Naples Nat brought us back. I think we had like 23 or 2,400 views.
I watched that episode. It was a good one. She's fantastic.
She's crushing it. Yeah. I kind of like doing these one-on-ones here. It's a lot with 4 guests. This way we could dive a little bit deeper. So Stephanie, no pressure whatsoever. No pressure. Okay, let's get into it. This is a topic a lot of agents want to know about. How to switch content focus on the platform. And I actually have a quote here from Instagram chief Adam Masseri, who's provided some new notes on how creators should go about switching up their content. So some people want to know, should I start a new account for this? Or does it matter if I have, a bunch of other stuff that may have not been relevant to what I'm posting now? Here is his answer. After I clear my throat. Generally speaking, it's better to continue to use your existing account as opposed to creating a new one when changing approach. And there's things that you can do to make that a little bit more of a smooth transition. For example, you can post a video about the fact that you're changing the direction of the account to give your followers a heads up. You can archive all of your old content from your profile so it's not confusing. And you can use trial reels before you decide to pivot to see if there's an audience for the new type of content that you want to create. All of this allows you to maintain your follower base and allows you to understand a bit more about who's interested in you, which will help you grow over time. So that is good to know for creators who want to switch up their account style. Stephanie, I'll start with you on this. Yeah. Have you ever switched the direction of your account, and did you do anything other than just post something differently the next day?
Yeah. I mean, when I started back in real estate back in like 2016, 2017, I switched to a creator account, I think it was a business account actually back then. And I used my full name versus like this personal private one that I had for years that I wasn't, I was posting on kind of frequently. So like the whole time I've been in real estate, I've been using, and I got good advice in the beginning to post personal and business on that account, to not have two separate. And I think people are still kind of grappling with that right now. I feel like you guys have gotten that question a few times on this show. Like,
That's
what do
one of
I
the
do?
FAQs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think people are like, what do I do? But I think it's great to show your whole life. That's what I'm trying to do. Whether you post the funny, the wins, the losses, like whatever it might be, right? I think that people want to see all of it. So I haven't really changed it up. I mean, I've changed the direction and I'm getting more strategic now with my posting the lot this year. I really dove into that after going to Bandmania and just kind of going all in on social because of the podcast and everything else. So that's kind of what I've done, but I haven't necessarily like switched anything or posted a video like that. But I think that's great advice.
Yeah, I think his idea to reintroduce yourself or let
Hmm.
people know that the direction of the account is changing,
For sure.
that's at least like courtesy to your followers, and then
Yeah.
it starts to make sense. So I know a lot of agents, like I'm working with one that he's an agent that's in BAMX, and I was auditing his account, and he said, well, if I want to start doing hyper local stuff, won't that just screw up with my audience who's used to just listings and everything. And
Sure.
I think the way Instagram content is consumed now, it's more in a vacuum where it's not like a YouTube channel
Hmm.
where it's just the individual piece of content that matters more than the account itself. So I think if you're watching this and you're thinking, God, I want to do this hyper local stuff, but I don't want to piss off my audience, I think it's fine.
Yeah.
Jason, have you ever switched directions, or have you just,
Not on
no?
purpose. I mean, they got switched for me back when I met you.
Right.
The bane of my existence now is that all I can do is post agent facing stuff.
Eric was
Oh,
like,
But
this is trash. You're going this
that's my
direction.
fault.
Sorry.
yeah, it's
You
all
have a
your
good
fault.
mix of content on your page.
So the issue is, and we talked about this last week a little bit, is that I think that the pivot might be to test trial reels
Yeah.
if you're trying to do something different, because then you can see if it, like you said, you can see if it hits before you kind of share it to your page. But I don't know. I guess I disagree. I mean, he's the CEO, but like I feel like posting a video saying like, "Hey, we're going to pivot this out," but like we know that organically your videos are only going to get seen by 10% of your following. So then what's the point? Maybe pin it to the top and then give it some time. Um,
That's a good
I'm not
idea.
exactly sure. Like I think that like we've seen successfully Katie Day, Houston Unlocked, right? Bill Olson. Well, I think he kind of always just did the hyper local, but we've seen successfully people do second accounts and then have like that, like the fresher page do really well.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, I don't know. I've never switched my account, so I guess I can't really
Yeah.
weigh in too much more than that. But
Yeah, I like the idea of pinning it to the top. Sorry, I think my Wi-Fi cut out there for a second. But I see a lot of agents who are also reintroducing themselves in their feed too, just because you get so many new followers to say like, hey, by the way, in case you're new here, this is what I do on this page, and this is who I am as a real estate agent.
I've seen
mm-hmm.
people do that like when they get into the business. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? Like I haven't really seen anyone do it if they're like I'm starting to post more hyperlocal stuff, but I'm just like doing a series or like something fun to like fit it in. Like I kind of agree with Jason. Like it's kind of awkward to be like, now I'm gonna do hyper. I don't know,
But
unless you
there's
are a Katie Day and like starting a whole new, channel.
it's an easier lane to take my account, which has been doing 12 years of agent facing stuff, behind the scenes listings, all that stuff, and then pivot into hyper local, which is still real estate related. I
Totally.
think that if you are a hairdresser and you've been a hairdresser for 5 years and then you get into real estate, that's going to be pretty impossible to pivot that account.
Yeah.
So that might just require a new account.
Yeah.
Yep.
I agree with that.
Makes sense there. Let us know in the comments if you have ever pivoted your account, but I think it's good to know that you don't have to necessarily just start a new one, because that would be a heaping pain in the ass. All right, topic number 2. We got some FAQs that we are going to rapid fire. The first category is strategy and planning. How do we create a content plan without burning out? Jason, I'll kick this to you. Any advice for the
Yeah, the
agent who has
creation of the
this?
content plan has gotten super easy nowadays with ChatGPT and other AIs, right? I use both Gemini and ChatGPT, just kind of testing in different things.
Hmm.
But you can go into it. Obviously, I'm a big proponent of building a custom GPT. We've talked about this, I think, on previous shows where you go in and you create the custom GPT with like all your Instagram and YouTube and disc profile and all that stuff. So then you can say, hey, based on what you know about me, give me a content calendar for the next 30 days for specifically for Instagram or specifically for YouTube. And then it's going to spit out hundreds of ideas. You know what I mean? You can keep asking it. And then you say, hey, I like numbers 1, 7, and 8. Can you give me outlines for those? And then a small, 60-second script. And now you're ready to go. And so for the last year or two, I think finding a content calendar or guessing what to post has been taken care of for you just
Hmm.
through AI.
Jason, are you
Absolutely.
paying for the $20 a month or the $200 a month?
$20
Yeah,
a
same.
month, which is the plus one, and that
Yeah.
allows you to create the custom GPTs.
Hmm.
And so that's all you need, I think, at this point.
Yeah.
Gemini, which for those of you who do G Suite for your emails, so like I have Jason at thecassidyteam.com, so I use G
Hmm.
Suite to get that email. Gemini Plus or Gemini Pro is now included with your business like subscription.
Oh,
And so
cool.
you can use that as well. Now, the only thing is Gemini, as far as I know at this point, May 21st, is that you can't create the custom like GPTs. You can give it prompts to then say,
Okay.
hey, think like me or whatever. I think Gemini is a tad bit better, but you can't do the custom one. So I have like a custom coaching GPT. I have like a custom Sharon GPT. I have a custom Sirhant GPT, and then I have me GPT. So like I have all these different things that I ask it. You
Hmm.
can't do that on Gemini yet. So that
Okay.
being said, any good prompt, even you can say, hey, you're a real estate agent in San Diego getting ready to start a YouTube channel, give me my first 10 videos, ideas, and the outlines for those. Content calendar, done.
Cool.
We should do an episode on how to create a custom GPT.
I think so too. This might be a BAMX
For
like
sure, you
session
guys
type
should.
thing,
Yeah.
because I've had more and more people ask me about that too. And then it's easy, but you definitely need to know like where to go, configure, what to say, stuff
Yeah, I
like
had
that.
to
So,
like YouTube some of that, and then
mhm.
Tessa Bella helped me with some of that as well. So I've just recently built out mine. So yeah, it's good.
Yep.
Shout out to Tessabella. We're actually doing this
$1 billion.
Reels challenge. We said we were launching it last week. We are
Hmm.
launching it June 1st. It's 30 Reels in 30 days. So if you need help building out your content calendar, look out for this because we're going to give you all the prompts.
Love
Love
it.
it.
That will be epic. All right, a couple more rapid fire here. We kind of answered personal versus business. You should definitely just combine those into one account at this point. If you're not doing that, you're just creating more work for yourself.
For sure.
How about this? How do I make videos if I hate being on camera? Stephanie,
Mm.
I will kick it to you because I know you do some B-roll content as well as being on camera.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's a struggle, I think, for a lot of people. I don't mind it. I never really have. And so, I'm glad that I've never totally struggled, but there are days where I don't want to be, right? So I think that creating B-roll, putting your voiceover behind it, making it personal so that it's not just no one hears from you, no one's seeing you talk. You know what I mean? Like people want to hear your voice and see your personality, but you can do that again through B-roll, doing the voiceovers, posting some fun local content, or even at a listing or whatever the case may be. So, but I think you do need a mix of like yourself on camera as well as, and I think it needs to be mixed of polished, listing videos, whatever, as well as just like, fun content. Maybe do stories to try to get comfortable in the car, because then you can kind of, if you don't like angles, you can kind of, figure that out for yourself and kind of go that route.
Yeah, story content, testing it out and seeing what the reaction is like is always
For
a
sure.
really good move. Jason,
Anytime
do
I
you ever?
post myself on
Mhm.
stories, I get the highest reactions. And I'm like, why? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I just, again, it just shows that people want to interact with you, And
Yes.
so, yeah, I think that's important.
It is important still to get comfortable speaking on camera though, because that's how
Sure.
people familiarize themselves with you. So if you're a client, you see this person speaking on camera all the time, you feel like you already know them.
Totally.
So I think it's an easy fix to do the B-rolls and you should 100% do that.
Mm-hmm.
But you're going to have to do this eventually, right? I don't
Yeah.
think we haven't escaped to the point where you can't do this. You could just create an AI version of yourself yet. That is coming though.
Mm.
All right, a couple more here. Why is my engagement so low all of a sudden? Well, that's a stupid question because I don't know
Because
how
your
to answer
content
that from someone
sucks.
specific. But all right, should I use hashtags and do they still work? Jason, thoughts on this?
They're still there. They still have the same kind of reason for being there. So if you want to search something like locally, if you go to like hashtag San Diego real estate or San Diego things to do or whatever, you can then like surf the hashtag and discover stuff. But Instagram's not using the hashtags to feed you content anymore like it used to. So now it does a better job scanning your content and deciding what it's about
Mm-hmm.
than it does using the hashtags. That is very 2015. That is not needed anymore, except for the one-off situations where maybe you're trying to use Instagram like a search platform, and use the hashtags. But even then, you could actually just search in the field now for what you want. So less and less relevant. That being said, there's a very small subset of people that still use them to search stuff. So if you want to include them, sure. It's just I don't think that Instagram cares.
Yeah, I think if you're going to use them, do 3 to 5 that are very specific to that post, nothing too
You don't
broad.
need a paragraph of this of hashtags.
Correct. That was the old days, is when you
Yep.
slap 30
30.
hashtags from your notes section,
Oh
same
my
one
God.
onto each one. That
Yeah.
used to work a lot, by the way.
Mhm.
I remember in the old Instagram, you could see the growth from hashtags, how many people
Mhm.
you actually reach. But the new hashtags, as we mentioned on the show before, are your keywords that you use in your caption, the keywords that you use in your comments, because people are searching. If you don't
Mhm.
have the word La Jolla real estate, then you're not necessarily going to pop up. So make sure you're using keywords. And then, of
sure.
course, audio works better than hashtags too, as an attention grabber. And Sharon just posted this amazing video about how important it is to have audio that matches the mood
Yeah.
of your actual post. If it's, motivational, it's kind of like hype me up music. If it's talking head, it's kind of more lo-fi ambient that doesn't take away from the actual content
That whole
itself.
video
So
he did was so helpful.
I know.
It was amazing. I watched the whole
Yeah.
thing. Yeah.
He texted me. It was just like, hey, this would be good for BAM. And I
It
was
was
like,
great. Yeah. It
yes, it
was
would.
what, 22
Fantastic.
minutes? And yeah, it
Yeah.
was a lot of it was like, duh, but then not. You know what I mean? Like it was just good the way that he kind of laid it all out there. I liked it.
Yeah, he's created our 2 best pieces of content in like the last 2 months. It actually pisses me off because I'm doing this shit every single day. And then he just slaps over this video to me.
I get it.
I heard he's a free agent. You can make him a BAM creator.
I
Mm.
know. I think, yeah, that would be a huge announcement, actually. Sharon, BAM creator, exclusive with nobody else. Is it worth boosting or running ads? I'll start with Stephanie and then Jason. I know that you have done ads.
So I have had more success with running ads than boosting, but where I usually boost is like a listing video. So like one of the videos I sent you that I wanted you to look at, like I boosted that to that area. And then we ran a couple ads on it as well. But I feel like maybe I'm wrong. So please correct me because I'm very interested in this. I get the notifications all the time to like boost this reel, it performed better, than your average or whatever. But I kind of thought I heard Jason say at one point it was kind of a waste of money and like you got to be strategic about it. So I'm really only doing it like around certain things that I really want to like push out, but I could be wrong. So please.
Jason's the king of boosters. So why don't you answer
It just
that?
depends on what it is, right? So like you said,
Yeah.
like so my following at 20,000, 25,000, whatever, a lot of real estate agents. So if I
Hmm.
boost a listing video to followers or people like my followers, it's a waste of money, right? What am I
Yeah.
doing? But if I can target a local ad all day long.
Right.
Now, again, we've talked about this on the posts or on the show. Keynote, like, don't boost through Instagram anymore on your phone. You
Hmm.
want to go into Facebook and run the
Hmm.
ad from the ads manager
Hmm.
because you're losing 30% to the Apple fee if you just do it through your phone through the iOS.
Okay.
So whatever you do, just go through Facebook on your desktop, run it as an ad that way. That being said, I do it sure all the time. You can run, Facebook ads, social ads, whether it be video views on your video, getting the numbers up, just more exposure, or actually like lead ads. They still work really well. Then it's still very underpriced arbitrage, like video views and leads are still way underpriced compared to like Google pay per click, Zillow leads, right?
Yeah,
YouTube ads, stuff like that. So yeah, for sure.
for sure.
Just make sure that you're targeting an audience more locally versus your followers, unless you have a ton of local followers.
Right.
I think
Okay.
that the key to running ads is experimentation and seeing, is it more top of funnel stuff? Like, are you boosting a post that performed well, so you're going to get more organic reach that's just more followers, basically, so more
Hmm.
awareness to your account? Or are you boosting something that's more of a lead magnet or a listing where there's a direct call to action to actually reach out to you or submit some sort of form, which you could do through Facebook leads? We're starting to do all these now for BAMX and see what works. Do we run an ad to a blog that's kind of more of a soft sell? Do we run an ad directly to BAMX? Do we run an ad to a webinar that eventually pitches it? So it's like you kind of got to try out different things and different
Yeah,
creatives,
because you
different
could boost
hooks.
something to try to gain more followers, right? Like if you
Yeah.
had like some good local content or whatever. Like I had that thought. I haven't done that yet. So okay.
Yeah. I think moral of the story too is if you have a piece of content that is performing well, that is something you should probably look at boosting. Don't ever try to boost something that isn't performing well.
Yeah.
Even if it's like a listing video, if it got no organic reach, it's not going to get, you're just going to be paying so much for that reach through Facebook. All right. What sort of editing tools do you use or scheduling tools do you use for Instagram or your content? Jason.
No scheduling
Yep.
yet. Not to say that it maybe I should, but editing, I just use CapCut, and I've now tried with edits a little bit. Um, that's it. Pretty basic. Just for on the phone stuff on the fly, CapCut.
Yep. Stephanie, what about you?
Same. I started using Editor a little bit more, but I'm still find myself either going to CapCut or just editing it right in Instagram. But those are the two. I also am not using a scheduler, but I thought about it, so looking
Yeah.
into that.
The only harm with scheduling content is then if you schedule it and forget about it, then you're not there to respond to comments and everything right away.
Mhm.
But there is actually no harm. Like there's a myth out there that if you post through a scheduler that for some reason you're going to get less engagement. That's
Mhm.
definitely not the case. It's just, are you not there to respond to people right away?
Mhm.
I think that was also like back in the days where we used Hootsuite and
Yeah.
like some third party schedulers, but now you can just do it right in the app.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which I think it is worth exploring that because if you want to just get that off your plate, say you're going to be gone for Memorial Day weekend and you have a Sunday open house, or maybe not an open house post, but you have something that you want to post that day, try it out, see if it works.
For sure.
The apps that I use InstaSize all the time, almost every day, and that will actually format your post. So if you're taking a screenshot of something and you want to make sure that it's full size,
Mm.
I use InstaSize, or it could add in the white borders. So if I'm doing green screen content, sometimes if you do a green screen and you have the article behind you just organically through Reels,
Mhm.
it will hit the edges, so it's like the text is too big and it won't be seen like on your traditional Reels formatting. So I use InstaSize for that. And then I use an
Hot tip.
app called Memetic for memes to
Mm.
search memes. I use an app called Memes too, where you could just search different expressions, depressed, angry, whatever, and then it pops out memes and trending stuff for you. And of course, CapCut is still by far the best thing to scroll for content inspiration. And check out edits too for Instagram.
Yeah.
All right, these are some good FAQs here. Let us know in the comments if you like these rapid fires. Thanks, ChatGPT, for formatting those. I'm acting like a bunch of agents submitted these. Wrong. That's not what happened. ChatGPT, I just thought this would be a good segment. Can I reuse old content or should everything be new? Stephanie.
Yes, reuse old content.
Yes.
Absolutely. I actually was looking at I've been kind of dabbling more with the trial reels just because, like, why the hell not? And I'm trying to grow my following and all that kind of stuff. And so, again, like, and actually, there was one I'm going to post later this week that was kind of just like an FYI, and it got like a decent amount of comments like in ManyChat and stuff like that. And it was like an FYI for homeowners. And I was like, I should just repost this. Like it did okay, but like, let me see if I can do it again. So like, I'm absolutely, and you can, you know, something that you film in B-roll, you can cut up and use a few different times. So I'm all about that.
Absolutely.
Make it easy.
Jason, have you reposted anything? I feel like every post you've ever had has been original.
No, but that being said, like now with like why not? The way that
Yeah.
Instagram works is very much more like you said earlier in a vacuum, where TikTok is, and where people are just scrolling through the feed, and it's
Mhm.
not necessarily like they're on your page seeing what you posted. You know what I mean? So why not? Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't see why you couldn't, especially if it's like a year old and it's still relevant. Something that was evergreen, not necessarily like you wouldn't post your 2022 market update, but something that was like a funny skit or a video or some insight about the industry. Sure.
Mhm. Well, I recently got fed something from somebody that I realized I had already seen it, but it was a carousel, and it fed me slide 2. And then I went back, I'm like, "Oh, I've already seen this." And I know that they've been kind of doing that, like if your first couple of slides are really good, that they'll kind of push that back out. And so I saw somebody's, content again. I don't know that they reposted it, but, anyway.
Yeah. Whenever I see like Brock Johnson, for example, he's that Instagram coach that we always
Yeah.
talk about. He reposts old content all the time.
Mhm.
And as a frequent avid follower of his, I don't care. I don't say, oh my God, this guy's run out of content. I just think like this guy's smart. He's reposting this message because it was important and because he
Right.
knows he has a bunch of more followers.
Again, I
Um,
think being strategic about it, but yeah.
100%. How do I make content when I don't have any listings, Jason? This is for you.
Heyo, steal other people's listings. Start with
Exactly.
That's
yourself,
for
move to
me.
your team, move to your brokerage, and then move
Mhm.
to friends in the industry. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So like if you have a team that has a bunch of
Yeah.
listings, great. If you're at a brokerage, just ask other people within your brokerage if you can
Caravan?
use their content. Go to Caravan. That's how I did it early on in my
100%.
career. I used to go to the downtown Caravan in San Diego every Thursday,
Yep.
and my mentor at the time had a big downtown specific site, and he would write blogs, and he's like, just go to the Caravan, and then there's 10 properties on, and then just write a blog post about each, like describing what the listing's like, the orientation. West
Yep.
facing means you get sun in the afternoon, and that's how I learned how to really write listing descriptions. But like it was early content because I was saying like, hey, here's the flow of the house. this is the orientation, this is why you would buy it, be careful because there's a new building that's going up 2 blocks away. And so like that was early content. But yeah, just use the caravan. Obviously you're not representing that it's your listing, you're just saying like,
Right.
hey, I saw this cool new listing today, let me tell you about it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm
Or-
going through that right
yeah.
now because I've got 5 that are coming on, but I've only got 1 on currently and they're taking forever to come on. I'm like, I need some content. So like, yeah, go to Caravan.
Go to Caravan, or
Easy.
of course, you hit up that hyper local. How about one more FAQ?
Yeah.
Go
One
for it.
more FAQ. Who wants it first, Jason or Stephanie?
Oh, this is like a blind
Oh,
sign up?
Yes.
scary.
Yes.
I'll go.
Ready? Do reels matter that much, or should I still post photos?
That's
What
a
a
soft-
question, huh?
What a softball.
Forget that question. That's a stupid question. No one needs to know the answer. Yes, of course. Post carousel, post photos, post reels. Variety is important. You don't have, but reels are going to help you grow the most.
Yep.
Yeah.
How do I stand out in a saturated market? There's a lot of agents in San Diego. You guys, 2 agents in San Diego right here. How do you stand out here? Jason.
I would say like there's no market that's saturated that much to where you couldn't stand out, because everybody who follows you for you, and they may not vibe with Stephanie or Dan Parker or Bern McGovern or anybody else in San Diego who does content, because for some reason they're going to choose to work with you instead of them. And then there's going to be some people that work with them instead of you. So put out the content. Because you're going to find your people that way. Obviously, kind of like blending with the last question, video is the best way to get discovered. So you put out consistent reels about your neighborhood. Let Instagram do the work. They'll find the people who want to watch your stuff, and then they'll just take all the legwork out for you. So that being said, unless you're like, I was gonna say, even like Manhattan and Chicago and LA, like it's still not saturated enough. There are a million plus members of NAR, National Association of Realtors, and there's probably a handful in your city max that are doing content at a high level. So you still have a blue ocean of content to do before it's too saturated.
Yeah.
There's kind of that like first mover fear where if you see someone in your market, like if I was in Orlando, I would be pissed that Ken Pozek exists, because you'd be like, well, how am I supposed to compete with this? But there are a lot of people that also still don't know Ken Pozek, or for whatever reason, like you said, Jason, would vibe with you more than they would vibe
Correct.
with
There's going to
the
be people
Pozek
who just
group.
don't like his face, and they'd
Yes.
rather watch you. Now, I would be in trouble because I look exactly like Ken Pozek in the
Yeah,
sense of
that's
like
true.
white guy with a side part and clean cut. Like, but the thing is
Clean
like,
cut. I don't know about that.
well, ish. But like,
Yeah.
obviously, like there's going to be people who don't like Ken, and so like you're leaving all that on the table. Guess what? There's a lot of other really successful agents in Orlando too. So
yeah. I just think that is a fear that a lot of agents do have is, oh, this person already has a YouTube channel, I'm done. I mean, look at Actually Agents, right? I had the meme account, and then Actually Agents said, you know what? I'm going to do this too. And he was right. He was right. He should do it too.
But
Love
you were
Actually
first, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
We,
But
we
I was
love you
first.
anyway. We love you the most. We love you
Yes.
the most.
are you saying he did it better?
No, no. Are you saying that? No, absolutely not. I'm just saying that, like, you know, more power to him, or to anyone that decides. Just because Inman News exists doesn't mean BAM Media can't exist. Like,
Correct.
we're going to do it better. Just
Right.
because Ken Pozek exists doesn't mean you could not create your own.
And I think just being
hyperlocal
authentic to yourself, right? Like whatever like floats your boat, again, you're going to speak to those people. And I think where some people may, because this has been true for me, so I'll speak for myself, like it's overwhelmed, right? Like there's so much that is coming out constantly with everything changing. And like people, if they haven't been doing content, they haven't been doing videos, or, you know, they haven't been on camera, like it can feel like a mountain ahead of you. You know what I mean? So I think just taking it one chunk at a time and just finding something that you enjoy, because if you don't enjoy it, you're not going to be consistent at it either. So I've had to find the things that speak to me the most and then roll with that.
Speaking of being authentic, have you seen all these new? So we had realtor Caitlin on, Jason, who does the deadpan delivery. There's like 5 or 6 of these people now.
There
Yeah.
is.
And
Yeah.
they're all crushing it.
But
Yeah.
they all,
But it's-
they're doing really well.
Yeah.
There's that other female agent that said, like, you know, something about the bush being
The
in front of
bush
the
in
house,
Florida
and
or
it's
something
got
like
like millions of views or something like that. And I see all these deadpan kind of sarcastic deliveries now. It's kind of funny to see these copycat agents pop up all over the place doing
Yeah.
the exact same thing.
Yeah.
And it's like, are you supposed to credit Caitlin if she was the first in every single caption? Or at that point, like, I wonder if these people have reached out to her, or it
Probably
it is what it is.
Probably not, but
I
you
would
know,
say
I hope
this.
they do.
Yeah.
I would say this: if you're going to, there's only one Ken Posek, and there's only one realtor Caitlin, and there's only one Jason Cass. There's only one, right? So like, don't try to be them, just be
Yeah.
you, right? And that's the
Right.
difference. Is like, if you go to Orlando and you start doing Disney and like local digital mayor content and stuff like that, and like there is kind of like, you should just be yourself, right? And so like, don't try to be Sharon or try to be Ken. Just be yourself, and you'll do just fine.
Yeah, agreed.
You know what? I'm going to come out against authentic content. I think everyone should start to be inauthentic. I think the pendulum has shifted so much where everyone's trying to be so authentic and so themselves that it's actually becoming insufferable. And
Yeah,
we
but
should all
is that authentic though? If you're trying to be so authentic, like
Oh, meta.
Shit. I don't know. Well, you're right. It's not authentic.
It's
if you're trying
not.
to be that authentic. It's
Like,
almost
just-
more authentic to be inauthentic.
yeah. So like, you know,
What a
anyway,
take.
we're spiraling down this like authentic hole right now.
What a
Anyway.
take. Here's an Instagram clip right here.
Yep, clip
Exactly.
it.
I mean, think about it. If you are just so focused on being yourself, that becomes a little annoying. Where it's, oh, this is me. Like, you know, there's all those agents like, yeah, this is who I am. This is who I am. Take it or leave it. It's like, give
I
me
see
a
what you're
break.
saying.
Yeah.
I see what you're saying. Yeah. Where it's like, but it's not an excuse to be non-professional too.
Exactly.
Like that's
Right.
the thing is you're dealing with clients, $1 million list sales and stuff like that. And so like, if you show up ratty and you show up, then it's like, whoop, that's just me. It's like, that's not an excuse to not be good at your job and be unprofessional.
Correct.
Oh, I was 30 minutes late to my showing. I
Or do we
blacked
just
out
call
again
that
last
job
night.
security?
Whoopsies.
You know?
Right. Correct. Yeah. It's like, whoopsies. I got high. I was eating edibles and I missed the appointment. That's just me though. Right. It's like,
Exactly.
hold on. No.
All right, let us know in the comments if you think authenticity is overrated and inauthenticity is actually back in. But if you are looking to stand out from the crowd, I do recommend checking out Reminder Media as a resource you have to check out. You get your own branded print and digital magazines, email newsletters, and social content. They deliver these resources to your contacts on autopilot, keeping you top of mind with your database. All you got to do is focus on your repeat follow-up calls and referrals as they come in. Okay, Stephanie.
Yeah.
So we want to take a look at your Instagram account. So let's just pull up the account as is. We want to take a quick look at your bio. And then you have two accounts, right? You have the Behind the Lockbox account, which is just Instagram clips of
Just
your
for the
podcast,
Yep.
which is a great podcast. Jason, have you been on it?
I haven't
yet.
No. You know what's so funny
are you
is that
coming on?
we've done an event with the Deal Collective, which is a couple friends of ours that we do developer events, stuff like that.
Yep.
Stephanie actually did a live version of the show at our event where she interviewed like 8 agents that night. You know, I had nothing but time, but instead I was just passing out drink tickets.
8 agents and you didn't choose Cassidy?
Hold on.
That's crazy,
in my defense,
actually.
I'm going to throw them under the bus because I did not set that up. They set it up for me.
I mean,
Oh.
you're the host of the show.
Yeah, you're the host of the
Yeah,
show.
like,
That's an
I
insane excuse.
Listen, I'm just the talent, guys. I'm just the talent. I showed up and they were like, here you go. Okay.
You're
Jason, you're coming to my house. You get a one-on-one.
Oh, okay. That's cool.
Yeah.
I'll do it.
It's more special.
He seems really excited for
I
that.
know. I'm going to force him.
Let's take a look at these reels. Let's do the first one here. So this is one that is a listing video that you just posted that has gotten pretty good engagement.
You could pack your car to the brim to visit the beach, or you could have it as your backyard. This newly constructed townhome is just 3 blocks from the beach, making it the perfect primary residence, rental, or vacation getaway. Located in the heart of downtown Oceanside, walkable to best coffee shops, dining, and shopping.
It's a whole song about humility.
San Diego is just absolutely beautiful. I love that you're calling out the problem of the beach, which is you got to pack. It's a huge pain in the ass. But why do it when you could just live right down the street, right, Jason?
Can I comment on that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We talk about listing videos a lot in the sense of like, you have what 95% of people do, and it's just like kind of like what you were doing with the kind of the corners and you're showing off the house and stuff like that. But what agents usually do is they say, welcome to my new listing at 1021 Cleveland. And then they're like, this 3-bed, 2-bath, right? And so like it's that is the okay. So most people don't even do listing videos, and then the select few that do usually do that walk through. This video is so much better than that, but it's the same thing because you never said your name. You never said, welcome to my new listing. You said, imagine yourself living at the beach. You're close to the coffee. And you never once said 1021 Cleveland. You never once said 3-bed, optional fourth, 2-bath, right? You never said $1 million. It's all in the caption. It's fine.
Yeah.
But that listing video was less about the house and more about what it's like to live in that neighborhood. And that is exceptional. That is the top 1%. Obviously, you have like the Matt Leonetti cinematics. I'm not talking about those.
Yeah.
As far as what I would consider a normal listing video go, that is the top tier of listing video.
Thank you.
Agreed. My
It was a
only
fun
critique
one to shoot. Yes, hit me.
would be at the very end, you did flash your logo, which is
Mhm.
fine, but maybe at the end it's a call to action about what someone should do to contact you. Unless
I
you
love
already had
that.
that, and I
love
forgot
that.
that. But
No.
I
the
think it was fine.
Yeah.
the
Stick with it.
Your favorite?
ALYSSACURNUTT
Just drop a dollar in the jar.
dollar in the jar.
I
She
feel like it
Share
needs
this
to
with
go.
a
I think
friend.
it needs to go
with
to
a friend.
$5.
Share this with a friend who likes to go to the beach. Share this with a friend who wanted
love
to
that
be
even
walking
more.
distance from the beach. If
Yeah.
you flash your logo at the end, like that whole thing didn't feel like, oh, this is another real estate agent until that logo pops up, and then you're like,
Fair.
you
That's
know.
fair.
It's not gonna change the game, but
I half disagree. I think you
Fuck.
could have added share that you could have done both. You could have said share this with a friend who's ready to experience Oceanside by the beach, and then still had the logo. Because the thing is you did such a good job of not opening with it, saying this is my listing, saying it's Stephanie, saying, you know what I mean, like all the
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
So flashing it at the end is so minimally invasive. It's at the end. Like
Yeah.
you didn't say it, it's just showing. But you could have also added the share with a friend for sure.
Totally.
I think all videos could probably have that. So
Well, I'm about
Eric's
to shoot
he
5
gets
listing
half.
videos, so I'm gonna do both.
look, I just
both.
said that
Eric gets half
just
credit.
I just
Half
said that
credit.
just to say it.
Okay.
You
We're
just wanted
trying
to
to
say Alyssa's name.
I didn't.
I really
You
think
did
that's the
actually.
case.
Oh, $5.
You said
Oh,
it.
spelling it doesn't count.
Yeah,
Yes,
it's like we're
exactly.
5
Yeah,
years
like when
old,
my
you can
dog, I
spell
say,
it.
hey, we're going to the PARK.
Yeah, exactly.
And then he's like, holy shit, this is going to be crazy today. By the way, he is wearing his Knicks bandana.
Why is he a Knicks fan though?
He's a big Knicks fan. I don't know.
He came that way.
He roots for the Knicks.
Did Ann pick that?
My dad's from New York. I'm rooting for the Knicks.
He roots for the Knicks.
Yeah. Knicks, Pacers, -4.5. We are taking the Knicks in game 1. Okay.
Pacers
this is
are feisty. That's dangerous.
They're good.
You already
They're
told me you took a home team in baseball -1.5. I question your judgment.
Well, I'll tell you why. Because the Dodgers lost 4 in a row, and I'm thinking, okay,
They're not gonna
Yamamoto,
lose.
they're
Yeah.
not going to lose
The
again to the
Diamondbacks are good
D-backs.
though.
Diamondbacks are good. The NL West, it's a gauntlet.
What do you think, Stephanie?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, they're my
How
home
about
team.
those
I'm from
Padres?
Arizona, so
Are you?
That's
What part
right.
of Arizona are you from?
like Phoenix area.
Oh, got it. Did you know
Yeah,
Eric's
I was
from
actually
Arizona?
born
Well-
in Tucson, but then we moved out of there when I was 5, and we went.
Did you know that, Eric?
north? He did.
I knew that. Yes, I did.
We
I
talked
knew
about
that
it,
she
whether
was
he
from
remembered
Phoenix.
or not. We talked about it. Yeah.
Yeah, I was.
Because I went to
completely
ASU.
obliterated.
And then he went, to U of A for like a year.
to the rival.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just kidding about being obliterated. She was referring to the podcast. That was just a joke, Mom, who is definitely listening to this.
Who's
Okay,
listening
number 2.
40 minutes in.
This
Hey, Mom.
is a
Hey,
coffee
Mom.
shop series. This is a new coffee shop series that you're doing. This is great hyper local content.
Every
Let's watch it.
Friday. Yeah.
Every Friday.
Welcome to week 2 of my Deja Brew coffee shop series, where I take you around to my favorite local coffee shops in La Jolla. This week, we're at Lily's. Locals will remember this as the old Panic Inn, but I think the owners did an amazing job of bringing this space back to life and bringing a slice of authentic Italy to the heart of La Jolla. As you step inside, you're greeted by true Italian hospitality, from the super sweet staff to the mouth-watering pastries inspired by Nonna Lily's recipes. It's a great place to slow down and savor La Dolce Vita. Share this with someone you want to grab a brew with.
Bang. By the
Nailed
way,
it.
B-roll, what did we say? Was your
B-roll.
face on that once? No.
Nope.
B-roll
Nope.
voiceover.
Yep.
What happens when you run out of coffee shops in La Jolla?
Do you know how long the list is, actually? I was only going to do 11 weeks, and there's like 17 on my list, but I'm probably going to stop at like 11 or 12 weeks, but yeah.
We're at the Starbucks on Genesee. Come on.
That one is not on the list, Jason, but anyway. Mm-hmm.
I don't
right.
have
Go
anything
ahead.
to critique on that.
No,
I
there's
was
nothing
just-
to critique. It's a home run, right? It's
Yeah.
just like she did the B-roll, she did the voiceover, she did the trendiest song in the world, happens to be called Espresso, so like that works. And it was
Whoa.
just a masterclass.
And did you call that Deja Brew?
The coffee, the series is called Deja Brew.
Genius.
Mhm.
Okay, so
Thanks, ChatGPT.
those are two good ones. Now let's watch a podcast clip. There's one with me in it. And I
Good.
called you actually because I noticed on your podcast clips that you were actually missing a text-based hook. So your podcast Behind the Lockbox is agents come on and they
Yeah.
tell their crazy stories, right? That's the
Yes.
context.
Yes.
Okay. Which is a clip machine, which is like, it's ripe for viral clips.
Totally. Yeah.
But if you're watching it in a vacuum, meaning you don't understand what the concept is of the podcast and you just see some random person talking, it's
Mhm.
kind of hard to understand exactly what's going on.
Yeah,
So
and
let's
I
watch
think these
this.
are the ones I need the help with, because
Okay.
this has been my side passion project, and so it's been, more challenging.
Perfect. All right, let's watch this first clip.
I walked in one day and I just noticed one of the pillows was just like slightly off. And I walk into the master bedroom and the pillows moved again. Somebody getting in here? I'm
Right.
like,
Is a window broken that I didn't notice? Is it,
Right.
yeah. Are they climbing up the drain pipe? I've had that. Mhm.
correct. So then I walk out of the house and I have this feeling. I'm like, I wonder if they're in the attic. 1:30, my phone starts ringing. And I was like, tell me. He's like, I got him. Call 911. I got the
He's
guy.
got him hogtied.
He's got him. Now we've got 9 squad cars, a helicopter.
Shit. No.
While I'm on the phone with my guy, I hear the helicopter speaker go, sir, put down the bat.
So you said this thing went viral.
That one went viral. And I think this is where I struggle with like the podcast specifically, is because there are things that like I feel like that clip was kind of long. It was kind of dragging on. And like I sometimes have trouble kind of clipping and editing them, where I need them to be. But that one got over 500,000 views.
Whoa.
569,000. And then I've got some that I think are going to take off and then they don't. And so I'm like, oh, and I know we talked about like putting more text on the screen, flashing text on screen, things like that. So like the podcast channel is where I'm struggling a little bit more.
When that went viral, did that net you a lot of more subscribers or followers?
Not really. And that's what I've always been looking at those analytics for,
Yeah, I think the reason is because when I watched that clip,
Yeah.
if I didn't know it was about real estate, I would have no idea what it's about.
Yeah, makes sense.
Like
Yes.
even in the caption, it didn't say like, this agent, there's a squatter there or something. I still kind of don't even know what it's about.
For sure.
I'm not,
okay.
Look, the thing got 500,000 views.
Yeah,
So
But
I'm the moron
again,
here.
though, it still didn't get me like more
It didn't
followers,
convert.
more subscribers. Exactly.
Right.
And so that's
if
where
it says like, crazy real estate agent story, not crazy real estate agent, but crazy
Yeah.
real estate story,
Maybe.
tenant hiding in whatever.
Yes.
And then it's like, okay, I understand the context. And in the caption, it says, this is from episode blah, blah, blah of this podcast. Make sure to follow along if you want to hear more clips like that. Then you're at least giving them a call to action and there's something there.
That makes sense. And it's not just for like the people listening, like it's for people who don't have any idea what it is or what I'm doing or anything like that. So yeah, that's the mindset I need to be in.
Yep. And I think those, because I had a podcast called Caravan Confessions. Jason, did you ever go on this one?
No.
Okay. This might have been before we even met, actually. Which is
we met in 2016, but we didn't really do collabs and stuff till like 2019 or something.
Yeah.
So this might have been before that.
I had a podcast called Caravan Confessions, and the whole thing was for agents to tell their crazy stories too. And it was so hard because it's so dependent on the agent's ability to be charismatic and storytell that even if they have a great story, it's hard for that person to be good at storytelling. So I found it very difficult, but like this can be an absolute clip machine if the context is right.
Yeah.
And if you say exactly what the clip is about.
For sure.
So I think that's the move.
Mia's right for that too. She's like such a good storyteller. Like when you talk to her in person, she's just like captivating, and I love Mia. So like people probably just wanted to follow along to hear the end of that story.
Her episode did great in general. But yeah.
And you're collabing with your personal account for these clips, or sometimes?
I am. I don't post every single one because I didn't want my whole other channel to be just podcast. You know what I mean? Yeah. So like I'm collabing on certain days, like usually the day the podcast comes out or the day before, depending on how viral I think the clip will go. I'm also collabing with the agent, but do you know how hard it is to get them to accept it?
Yeah, because like with me, like you invited me to collab after ours. I wasn't going to accept those because no offense. but just because it would be so different for my page of me kind of just telling a story.
I understand. I wasn't going to not invite you just in case you were like, why didn't you invite me? I'd be like, I don't, but like for the agents who come on, like they're asking a lot of times to come on. And so then I'm like, hey, and I break it down for them of like, this is what we're going to, but then still they're like, I don't know how to do that. I'm like, you just hit accept, or they don't like the way they looked on camera. And that happens, which really, anyway.
Yeah. Or just show them right afterwards, like right after the podcast is done, say, hey, I'm going to invite you to collab. Here's how you accept it. So that way they just understand what's coming.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I think the podcast has a lot of legs, especially with the virality of these clips. I love the name. Behind the Lockbox. We did have Between Two Lockboxes. I don't know if that inspired it possibly. So I deserve royalties for everything that you've ever
did not
done.
know about that. So no, sorry.
It was short-lived.
Sorry.
It was Danny Deals. What's that? Cassie, you're on mute.
Oh,
somehow.
you mean the name of the show that was literally ripped off from Zach Galifianakis?
Yeah, no, I'm kidding.
But she deserves royalties, or she gives you royalties.
Behind the Lockbox is a great name.
Thank you.
Yes. Growing a podcast, as we said, is very difficult. I think you said you're doing it once every couple weeks, which
every week.
Oh, every week. Okay.
Every week. Yeah.
Great.
Do you release every week, or do you batch and then release every week, or do you shoot every week?
No. I batch and then I release every week. So right now I've got content through July 1st. So I'm not recording again. I'm actually I record in one day, 4+ guests in one day. So it's a whole day production. And then I'm actually likely going to take a summer break this year. It's the first time we've been over a year and a half now. We need to reorganize some things and kind of come out fresh. So, but yeah, I batch and then release every single week.
Batching content and taking breaks, Eric. What is that?
I don't know, honestly.
It sounds amazing.
I wish I did. It does sound amazing.
I gotta focus on my, business and real estate channel. So, we'll see, but it will be, we'll keep it going.
Yes. Everybody go check out Behind the Lockbox. And you know what you should also check out, Jason, is experience.com. Because if you haven't heard of it, this is a platform that gives agents a free profile that boosts your visibility on Google search and maps. We're talking 93% of users showing up on the first page of Google. From one dashboard, you can manage your entire online presence, collect and showcase reviews, track customer sentiment, and even share client feedback straight to social. And did I mention that it is gamified, because reputation management is way more fun when there is a scoreboard. So if you want to show up higher, look better online, and actually control your digital reputation, hit the link below down in the description. Any final words, Jason? I think this is a great episode. I like the FAQs. I like the idea of having an account and not having to switch if you change directions and just updating people. I think Stephanie showed us great content with the B-roll, the good listing video hook, and the podcast clip that got 500,000 views. What else do we have? Anything, Jason? Any final words? Any predictions? Anything to say?
I think you're underselling the Pacers. I think that we need to do a how to build a custom GPT course in BAMX.
Absolutely.
For sure. I definitely think you guys need to do that.
Let's do that. And by the way, if you haven't joined BAMX yet, we just opened up a 7-day free trial. So if you want to check it out, Stephanie, you are a member of BAMX. So definitely check that out for content every single week. You get social content, video scripts, blogs, emails, trainings, everything. So Stephanie, where can the people follow you?
At Stephanie Zalowski. I'm sure that'll be in the show notes because that's not the easiest name to spell. You can also follow at Behind the Lockbox on Instagram as well. We're on YouTube too.
And go watch the most recent episode, which I am on. If you want to hear me tell that shotgun story for the 50th time in a row. And Jason, where do people follow you?
They don't.
Okay.
Instagram, baby. You know how to find me.
They do.
You know how to find me. Jason Cassidy on Instagram.
Obi Toppin, TJ McConnell, Benedict Mathurin coming off the bench for the Pacers. That is a hell of a second
Tyrese
team.
Halliburton.
Tyrese Halliburton. I'm just talking the second team. The second team's amazing too. TJ McConnell, kind of like a Peyton Pritchard that can't shoot. Thank you, everybody. We'll see you next week on The Walkthrough.